When you're young, not much matters. When you find something that you care about, then that's all you got. When you go to sleep, at night you dream of
music.
When you wake up, it's the same thing. It's there in your face. You can't escape it. Sometimes when you're young, the only place to go is inside. That's just it.
Music
is what I love. Take that away from me, and I really got nothing.
It's hard to encapsulate what it meant to grow up with Mac Miller's music in the early 2010s without sounding like some sort of hysterical stan, but let me try anyway. I was born in 1997. I was 13 when I first heard Mac Miller's music. For me and my small group of friends growing up in the southeast suburbs of Melbourne, Australia, we couldn't possibly have timed it any better. See, in your teenage years, you begin to find your first little pieces of independence that shape you into the person that you'll one day become. In this crucially formative period of your life, everything seems to be operating at an insanely high level of importance. Every album you love is the greatest thing you've ever heard. Every movie you enjoy is a cinematic masterpiece. And every girl that looks in your general direction could be your soulmate for the rest of your life. As a result of being in this frame of mind when I first heard Kool-Aid and Frozen Pizza, it's hard to put into perspective whether Mac's music was truly revolutionary or just truly revolutionary to me and my friends. It's become even harder to put that perspective into a broader context ever since Mac tragically passed away. It's hard to truly know for sure what Mac's reputation in the music world would be like if he was still alive. Sadly, this is a phenomenon that our generation particularly understands a little too well. Time and time again, we've seen young artists with cult-like followings reach a whole new stratosphere after their lives were tragically cut short. A glaring example of this phenomenon in action. A glaring example of this phenomenon in action is Anthony Fantano shitting on Mac's entire discography as was being released, and then mysteriously, as soon as Mac passed away, he openly wept in front of the camera when reviewing Good News and gave Mac's posthumous release Circles an 8 out of 10, the highest rating he'd ever given to Mac Miller Project. Whether or not Fantano would have given such a glowing review of Circles if Mac was still alive is impossible to know for sure.
With some very moany singing and vocal lines that sound like Mac is simultaneously trying to hold a tune and a mouthful of water. Of course, I'm talking about Mac's last full-length LP, The Divine Feminine, a record that I found so traumatically boring that it feels like it came out 6 years ago to me, even though it just dropped in 2016.
But I mean, Circles is inextricably linked to swimming, and he gave swimming a 3 out of 10, so maybe let that be a lesson in enjoying someone's company while they're still alive and being a little bit more optimistic about life, because you never know when it's going to be taken away, but I digress. So I'd like to preface this video with the following disclaimer. I understand that subjectivity and personal circumstance can go a long way in determining what kind of art a person enjoys. Everybody's experience is different, we all grow in different ways and find beauty in different places. I understand that it's dangerous and potentially problematic to speak on behalf of an entire generation of people as if my opinion is somehow worth more than anybody else's. I understand all of that. Now let me say this. Mac Miller is the most important artist of this generation and Faces is his magnum opus. Let's talk about it.
So many things that I've created, but this right here might be my favorite. They ask me how I feel, I say amazing. I feel amazing.
That's the beauty of Faces, I reckon. You can feel everything in it. There's something in there for every emotion.
Mac Miller's Faces is a mixtape that has something for absolutely everyone. But because of its dark themes, abstract production, strange skits, and a hefty runtime, you might have to work pretty hard to find it. This is part 1.
Bust speakers with some bullshit rap. I'm on drugs, all my new shit whack. Remember that. I ain't shit but a fraud.
Now we just have to solve the drug crisis in America.
Easy. We'll take them all. Yes!
2014 was a great time to be a fan of dark, surreal comedy, and Faces is no different. On a plethora of tracks on this tape, Mac plays lyrical jump rope with comedic wit and seriously dark subject matter.
As it gets easier for people to talk about mental health, it's definitely a coping mechanism for a lot of people, you know. A lot of people that are sad, they don't want to be sad, so they try and make a joke of it, try and make light of it. So when you dance across that line, it's to make yourself feel better, but also to make the people around you feel better, and that's what I feel like Mac was definitely doing with a lot of the project.
Songs like Friends, Angel Dust, and Malibu welcome you to the mixtape with fun, bouncy instrumentals, hilarious ad-libs, and witty punchlines. And then almost out of nowhere, Mac will hit you with something like,
my brain fried, always chasing the same high. I'm too fucked up to function, do nothing but waste time.
Or bars like this.
I'm the only suicidal motherfucker with a smile on. Let's hold hands and sing the Bible, that's a violent song.
And you'll almost check yourself for a second, be like, what the fuck was that? I thought this was supposed to be fun. I thought we were having a good time. which is a sentiment that Mac himself addresses on the song New Faces.
Isn't he dizzy off the ups and downs? He got a little Whitney, put it in a blunt for now. Smoke. She was supposed to get me high, why the fuck I wanna die now?
These deep, dark bars hidden in the middle of what would otherwise be seen as rather inoffensive, fun rap songs project the idea that mental health troubles and addiction are not always surface-level issues. And more you listen to this mixtape, the more you come to discover that Mac was fighting some pretty serious demons during its creation. These demons run riot throughout the mixtape's duration. Songs like Polo Jeans, It Just Doesn't Matter, New Faces and Rain do a great job of carrying out these comically dark themes throughout. But none quite do it as well as track 16, San Francisco.
The first bar on San Francisco, I thought, really summed up the whole album. So it goes, welcome to the dark side of my bizarre mind.
I'm trapped inside of this amusement park ride. There's an atom bomb inside my hard drive. I'm holding the apocalypse. Let's take a ride and get lost in this metropolis.
As Mac, through this album, it's truly a trip into his dark mind, but like he says, you know, an amusement park ride. It's fun, it's scary, you're enjoying yourself, but you're also shooting yourself, and that's kind of what this album is. It's just up and down, and you can't get off.
While perhaps not the best or most timeless song on the mixtape, no other track mixes hilarious wit with tragic melancholy quite like San Francisco. To go from grim, heartbreakingly self-aware bars like this,
and I inherited a thirst for self-destruction, and I'm scared of it. I wanna be buried with a novel in a chariot. I'm a bigger illusion than good marriages.
To a fun, head-nodding, hilarious chorus like this.
I took acid in San Francisco, stripped butt naked, caused a panic at the disco. Fell for the bimbo who was dancing at the strip show. I gotta stop thinking with my dick hole. Yeah.
Back to bars like this.
Out in Wichita, Kansas, smoking meth with all the locals, asking them to teach me how to yodel. Suppose I'll die alone from an overdose of some sort in a motel while some whore I'm fucking running to the drugstore.
Is a truly unique rollercoaster ride of emotions. In under 3 minutes, Mac has hit us with some of the most profound bars of his career, given us a killer hook, and prophesized his own death, all on top of a banging beat that he produced himself.
The guy is brilliant.
But like all great dark comedies, shit has to get real at some point. And on Faces, Mac is methodically precise about when and where to hit the listener hard in their feelings. Inside Outside, Funeral, and Grand Finale are the three most heartbreakingly beautiful, existentially soul-crushing songs on this mixtape, and they're positioned at the exact beginning, middle, and end of this 24-song project.
Coincidence? I think not.
I refer to this holy trinity as the sandwich of soul, and it's the true emotional framework in which the rest of the mixtape operates. Right off the bat, on Inside Outside, Max slaps you in the face with some pretty intense existential truths.
Should've died already. Faces. I should've died already. Shit. Faces.
In the very first bars of this mixtape, Mac is immediately letting the listener in on a pretty dark time in his life, alluding to the fact that his self-destructive tendencies and intense drug use should have put him in a coffin by now. Despite the song's dark subject matter, Mac never comes across as scared or concerned with the idea of death, saying quite enthusiastically, "It could all end right now."
I've never been so ready.
In fact, it seems like Mac's relationship with death is much better than that of the average human being, understanding that it's death itself that gives life meaning, highlighted in my favourite bar of the entire mixtape.
Everybody wanna be God, besides God, he wanna be like us.
Inside Outside introduces the ongoing theme of loneliness and seclusion to the listener, suggesting that while Mac is comfortable being alone, he's not incapable of being in love. And despite the fact that he isn't seen outside much anymore, on the inside, he's been spending months on end exploring the outer vantage points of his mind.
Never seen me in the street too much, but on the inside, I'm outside all the time.
You fucking drugger.
Funeral opens with an excerpt of a Hunter S. Thompson interview on Charlie Rose in 1997, explaining how he believes death to simply be a passage around the Great Loop. Quick side note, if you are a fan of this mixtape's dark, drug-induced existential themes, check out some of Hunter S. Thompson's work.
I know what happens.
Yeah.
You, me.
Yeah. Can you turn up my headphones?
And everyone else when they're.
Yeah.
Supposedly die. It's a passage around the Great Loop.
This music go with my funeral. Yeah.
On yet another self-produced instrumental, Mac bares his soul describing his childhood, regrets, and his imminent death.
Said I was raised inside this gritty city. Riding through, you probably missed me. My bicycle fell, I hit the road, the mailman almost hit me.
Listening to this song when it first released was hard enough, but knowing what we know now, this song is borderline unlistenable. Don't get me wrong, it's a truly beautiful track, but bars like
doing drugs is just a war with boredom, but they sure to get me.
And
I heard the legends never die. Oh, this lonely hell of mine. There never was a better time to better myself.
are enough to bring even the happiest of grown men to tears. Mac's self-awareness has always made him a brilliant comedic artist. Some of his greatest punchlines and wittiest bars have been stabs at himself. But when you strip away the self-deprecation, strip away the humour, these truly brutal criticisms of self are some of Mac's most heartbreakingly brilliant lyrics, none more so than this one.
Ashamed that my tragedy, my masterpiece. Yeah.
If listening to this song knowing what we know now ever gets you feeling down about Mac's death, listen again to the Hunter S. Thompson quote at the beginning about the Great Loop. And notice on the outro of the song when Mac sings,
Where are you going? Where are you headed? Where are you going? Can I come? Can I come?
sound familiar? Well, here's the intro to Surf, a track from Mac's 2020 posthumous release Circles.
Where are you going? Can I come to?
Now, make of that what you will. Does it mean something? Does it mean nothing? Is it everything? I don't know. At the very least, it's a pretty cool Easter egg. And finally, the last song on the mixtape, and in the Sandwich of Soul, is Grand Finale.
Staring straight into the face of a total psychotic freak.
Actually, wait. Let's just hold on to Grand Finale for now, and move on to part 2.
I'm the hardest working person in the universe. Temptation victim to the Church of Lucifer.
At the beginning of Mac's career, it was a widely held belief among hip-hop heads that his success would be short-lived. Due in no doubt to his pretty white boy image, his poppy choice of instrumentals, and his corny lyrics about partying and having fun. Mac was lumped in as just another cornball in a class of early 2010s pop rappers such as Asher Roth, B.O.B, and Chitty Bang. After critics and hip-hop fans alike ripped his debut album Blue Slide Park to pieces, Mac turned a new leaf and begun to rebuild his reputation as an introspective, experimental lyricist. And after making significant strides on Macadelic and watching movies with the sound off, Faces is Mac Miller's absolute lyrical peak.
Woke up annihilated, lying on a pavement covered in items I regurgitated under a fire escape, and I know that it's Friday, cause every Friday they have a parade in front of City Hall. Hear them celebrate, they having a ball. Literally unbelievable.
Mac has got bars on bars on bars on bars on bars on bars on this mixtape, and I'm not going to go through every single one on every song because A, this video is already going too long, and B, the joy of a project like this is to go back on your 100th listen and still pick up something brand new. What I will do is highlight 2 of my favourites, the 2 most bar-heavy tracks on this mixtape. First of which is Here We Go.
Here We Go is just a great way to start an album, like, when them horns come in, you just can't. How's it feel?
Can you feel it? Polo pajamas, I think I made it. I showed my mom my first million, she damn near.
On what is essentially the opening verse of this mixtape, Mac isn't rapping with a chip on his shoulder, nah. On Here We Go, Mac is rapping with a fucking large HSP on his shoulder. And not one of those shitty Empire HSPs either. I'm talking about a fucking Viva Kebabs HSP, 4 a.m. on a fucking miserable Sunday after a 2-day bender with fucking lamb, chips, garlic sauce, sweet chili sauce, fucking cheese on that shit. Mac is rapping with one of those on his shoulder on Here We Go. Nobody is safe on the first verse of this track. Mac's going in on the hip-hop elite.
The rich and famous so nice to make your acquaintance. The legends put out their latest. I feel that it sound outdated.
A new generation of SoundCloud rappers that blew their money before they had it.
Internet rappers ain't shit when no computers work. You spent your whole advance on 2 chains in the Gucci verse.
And any hip-hop fan that doesn't respect his game.
And I don't hold a grudge against anybody who hate it. I'm underrated, don't fit on nobody's playlist. If I ain't in your top 10, then you a racist.
The track is held together by a beautiful, uncharacteristically uplifting chorus, and it's a shame that it only gets one run through for the entire track.
So many things that I've created, but this right here might be my favorite. They ask me how I feel, I say amazing. I feel amazing.
And of course, we can't talk about Mac Miller, Faces, bars, or hip-hop in the 2010s without talking about what I believe to be the best 3.5 minutes of music created in the 21st century, the meat and potatoes, the creme de la creme, the motherfucking piece de resistance of Faces. 55. I'm just kidding. We're talking about Diablo. Of course we're talking about Diablo.
Rap Diablo, yeah. It's the Rap Diablo. Macho when I drop flows. Bar gets raised up. It's me and Petey Pablo.
Like, I might have gone a little bit off the rails there for a second, but is it so absurd to suggest that this is the best hip-hop song of the 2010s? Like, what is he up against? Runaway, Christ Conscious, Sing About Me, Cursor is the Sickest, Sentimental. Everything about this song is perfect. The atmosphere, the production, the timelessness, the punchlines, the wit, the hook, the Mighty fucking Ducks references. It's just fucking perfect. It is a perfect song. If there's anybody in 2014 still doubting Mac's credibility as a fully fledged, legitimate lyricist, Diablo and Faces as a whole puts those doubts to bed.
Human, I'm amphibian. Fake superhero like the Mystery Man. I ain't saving nothing. I'm getting faded till the angels come and skipping all the famous functions. How do the famous function? The A-list can't be trusted. I strong arm them like I play the trumpet. The bottom barrel of society. I tell my bitch if she don't love me, then just lie to me.
Now listen, that's called motherfucking bars, nigga. You know nothing about that.
I'm just trying to free your mind. 'Cause all you see is dollar signs.
I like to look at Mac's career in three distinct phases. From the High Life to Blue Slide Park, from Macadelic to Good AM, and finally from the Divine Feminine to Circles. Now I understand obviously that these are pretty broad generalizations, and Mac's shift from making music like this,
Got my clothes tailored, fit so nicely. You don't see these motherfuckers dressing just like has a bag of gear, now my clothes tailored. Has a bag of gear, now my clothes tailored. Had a fitted cap, now I rock a snapback. Had a fitted cap, now I rock a snapback.
to music like this,
Nowadays all I do is shine, take a breath and ease my mind, yeah. She don't cry no more. She tell me that I get her high, cause an angel's supposed to fly. And I ain't asking why no more.
It was not as simple as lumping himself into three distinct sounds that he wanted to achieve. Mac's evolution as a songwriter, producer, and even as a singer has been truly organic and a pleasure to watch happen over a decade. Both chronologically and sonically, Faces acts as the central point between all three of these phases. We get shades of poppy, boom bap Mac on songs like Therapy,
Tell me how you feel. Can you tell me how I feel? Can you tell me how I feel to come and hang around a motherfucker like me?
the effortless lo-fi introspective trip-hop on Polo Jeans,
Another motherfucking rap song. Broken, crazy, rich and famous doesn't last long. Spend all my cash on a broken dream. Went from weed and liquor to the coke and lean. All I got is mansion and this poker free. But don't I look so handsome in these polo jeans?
and we even get a preview of what the future holds for Mac on songs like 55, the jazzy Thumbelina, or on the recently singled Colors and Shapes.
Well, beneath the ocean, I met with a captain who sank to the floor on his ship. All of his passengers escaped to safety, but he was not done with his trip.
The true genius of Mac's artistic progression is on full display in 2021 during the re-release of Faces. When it was released 7 years ago, Colors and Shapes was almost an afterthought, merely a deep cut on a 24-track mixtape that only the most hardcore, open-minded Mac fans would really fuck with. I'm going to be completely honest with you, I used to skip this song all the time. Partially because it's so unfortunately positioned in between San Francisco and Insomniac, and I'm a sucker for a good rap banger.
Get this shit too real. Get this shit too real. See a motherfucker like me getting money.
But mostly because I just wasn't ready to hear Mac on a song like this.
Just from Colors and Shape, this really like incredibly sort of introspective, deep, sonically different thing from Mac Miller. And you're thinking, wow, this is like really emotional. And then he goes straight into Insomniac after that. And you feel all that energy. Like you feel both songs. Colors and Shapes is a real sit down, think type of song. And Insomniac is a get up, go crazy song. And he does it in the space of half a second. And actually there's that little skit just in between there. And yeah, I think that sums up how you can listen to Faces anytime. You can put it on. It's going to resonate with how you're feeling, and it's going to make you feel differently at the exact same time.
Fast forward to the present day, and this often overlooked, constantly skipped deep cut has aged so well that it's the leading single of the re-release of this mixtape. Time and time again, Mac Miller remained ahead of the curve, never succumbing to current trends while redefining what it meant to be a hip-hop artist in the 2010s. He did this while simultaneously executively producing perhaps one of the greatest mixtapes in hip-hop history. Think about that for a second. Not only did this man give us one of the most in-depth depictions of the human psyche ever put to paper, he did it while providing drums, piano, guitar, and samples of nearly half the fucking songs. And all that just for Rolling Stone to rate it as the number 18 rap album of 2014 behind the likes of Nicki Minaj, YG, Future, and fucking Azalea Banks. The world really, really did not deserve this man.
Let us have a grand finale. The world will be just fine without me. And it's just like, it ain't though. My world's not fine without you, bro. Like, it isn't. Like, why are you saying that? It's a lie. My world ain't. I know a lot of people's worlds ain't fine without him.
The hallucinations have stopped, finally, thank God. But my adrenaline reserves are burning out, and I'm staring straight into the face of a total psychotic freak.
I think that's the best thing about Faces, is the fact that every single time you listen, you can find a new favourite song.
The absolute one. First time I heard it, yeah, as if Paul said, we'd go in my room and I had these mad speakers in my room. We just go blaze one, lights off, and just like listen to the whole thing. And I was just like, wow, like wow, straight away.
With all art, you start to see that this person, if you didn't know Mac Miller, you would see this person talking about themselves in Faces, and you would see yourself in certain emotional instances where they reflect you. And I think that only grows with more listens.
It's a pretty fucking solid album, start to finish, isn't it?
You know, it might be something about relationships that you really like, or something about doing drugs, or feeling like you're the best in the world, or just enjoying the companionship of your friends.
You know, the roller coaster ride, 100%. That's what life's like. You could be one day fucking having the sickest time ever, and then half an hour later, you're just in the dumps, feeling crap about yourself for whatever. Nothing might even happen. It's just, you know, necessarily your brain's gone somewhere, and that brings you down, or brings you up. You know what I mean? So no, I think very seamless. I love how it's put together.
It's going to be a bit confronting for some people, because when the album itself came out, it kind of came across as humorous at times. Like, a lot of the bars are funny, but when it's removed and Max actually died, bars like should have died already, they're not quite as funny, you know, like they hit a bit different. So I think it's going to be a confronting listen for some people.
If he's like the same age as you and he dies, you think of your own mortality. So I think that's why we are so connected to him.
It definitely was tough at the start. I mean, after his death, I probably couldn't listen to Mac Miller for at least 6 or 7 months. I think enough time has passed now that, like, you look back on it, you know, he lived on the edge. He knew he was living on the edge, and that's the way he enjoyed it. Still heartbroken that he's died, but at least he lived the way that he wanted to, and reflects that in this project.
Like, I killed myself making this music, and I'm gonna give it to y'all for free because I love myself.
I've already used the word perfect a few too many times in this piece. If you can't already tell, I've got a tendency to be a little hyperbolic when going into detail about things that I'm passionate about. But believe me when I tell you that there is no embellishment involved when I say the grand finale is the perfect swan song. Everything that makes this mixtape a truly great work of art comes to a head in this final track. The dark existentialist themes, the incredible introspective lyricism, and Mac's stylistic evolution as a rapper, producer, multi-instrumentalist, and singer are all on full display on Grand Finale. There's not much I can say about this track that Mac himself hasn't already touched on in his piece with High Snobiety. If you haven't seen it, I would highly recommend checking it out. One final time on the last track of this mixtape, Mac lays his heart and soul out for everybody to experience. The guitar solo, the fireworks, and Mac's last harmonies are the perfect crescendo of this timeless mixtape. And if it really is to be the last piece of music released by Mac Miller's estate, it's the crescendo of a truly iconic and immortal career. Grand Finale is a truly fitting end to Mac Miller's tragic masterpiece.
Going down, we going out with a bang. Are you ready for the fireworks? It was a solid night till the fireworks.
If you made it all the way to the end, I want to say thank you so much for watching. I understand how much Mac Miller and this mixtape in particular meant to so many people, so I hope I did it justice. I would fucking love it if you subscribe to the channel. I'll be dropping new videos every week about artists, films, and TV shows that have changed my life and the lives of other people around me. If you're somehow in the mood for more Mac Miller content, we're launching the Slander Media podcast next week, and on our first episode, myself and everybody involved in this video attempt to draft the perfect Mac Miller setlist. So keep your eyes peeled for that one, and once again, thank you so much for watching. I fucking appreciate it very, very much. Peace.